In today's video, we're going to be checking out a Creality product, and it's the Falcon 2 Pro, and this is the 22 watt version. So the Falcon 2 has been out, but the Pro takes it to a new level and gives it a whole enclosure and more professional setup that I'm pretty excited to check out. So in this video, we're going to unbox it, set it up, and use it. So let's get started. Alright, so the Falcon 2 Pro comes in this box. It's actually quite large. It also weighs quite a bit at 52 pounds. Here we can see what the engraver looks like. And if we go to one of the sides, you can see here the dimensions. Let's go ahead and open it up. So right on the top, we got cardboard layer, soft foam. So it looks like there's going to be a layer here. So it looks like this is some kind of tray, as we got little wheels. And underneath that, looks like the door, and we got a red tint and another screen here for the same thing. All right, so we got another section of things here, and we'll go through this in a second. The pipe, it's like a collapsible. Looks like we have a little kit or some samples to engrave and cut to. This is our frame here. So for the most part, it looks somewhat assembled, but obviously we're gonna have to put a few things together. Move this out of the way for now. We got also the manual under there, and it's a very nice one. Shows us everything that's included, and then the step-by-step process to put it together. So yeah, very nice manual. So this is another layer here, and we can see we got these kind of aluminum pieces we'll be installing for the bottom floor. And actually that looks like a light there, so yeah, I can see LEDs in there. That's pretty cool. And another one here has the camera. Very nice. And below that we got parts to the enclosure, and we also have a fan here, and this is the side where the pipe will go. Another piece here, more pieces. So yeah, and that is everything that was in the box. All right, so let's quickly go over what we got in here. Some Creality stickers, a little box with some accessories in there, and there is a list that says what's inside. A power supply, and it's a 24 volt 5 amps. We also got the power cord with the US plug, bag of accessories, a hose, glasses, green, to protect your eyes. So this is a pump that pumps air, and we can see here the exhaust port. This plugs into the machine. And then we got the main module, which is the laser, and there's a sticker here to warn you about taking the safety precautions before using a laser. Read your manual carefully. So here we have air, fire, lens. There's more information here about the laser, 22 watts. So what the bottom looks like, the side there with some indicator of what the lights mean, different colors. Some venting here, mount, and more venting on this side with a laser icon here. So there's a little sight on the front, which is nice to see through what it's doing. And on the top, we got this pretty chunky cable that comes out of it, and that's obviously gonna plug into the machine. So also there are ports here for the air, and also a USB Type-C port, and also a button here. So yeah, quite interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and put the Falcon 2 Pro together. And yeah, after you find all your parts and check, make sure you have everything, we're gonna go here to the assembly. And on the first part, we can see we're gonna grab these two parts. And then also the centerpiece here, and that's gonna be the one with the camera, this guy here. So be very careful as there's connections. You wanna make sure that you assemble it correctly. So they show you here which side goes where and which way the camera points, but you know, it all should line up. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we can see on the channels there's a labeling, and the grooves are going to go on the inside as that's where our door is going to roll. So the one that says light on outer is going to be the one that goes on this side to the right, and the one that says fan is going to go on this side. The camera module is going to face down, and our port, the USB-C port, is going to go this way. On the channel itself, you can kind of see how it's going to line up just like that. But yeah, you can't really put it any other way. So we are going to need hardware, lots of little bolts. So we also have quite a few things here that we might need, like the wrenches and things like that. We got the keys, double-sided wrench, adapter, USB, more adapters, a little microfiber looks like, and some more bolts. So yeah, go ahead and put the key there. So I believe that these are the little bolts that we'll be using. So we're going to grab the correct wrench with the bolt, and we're basically going to put this together. So yeah, nothing too complicated here. Snug them up, and this piece here is together. So now we just need to line up the other end. Pretty simple. Everything lines up. Grab two more little bolts, tighten them up, and we are done with the first part, which should look something like this. And so in the next part, actually, they want us to flip it back around and slide the film, the protective red backing, through the back of it into track 1, be the one that's closer on the inside. So this is the front, that's the back. So because we need to slide it through the back, let's just do this. And so the track 1 is the inner one, and this is the protective film they're talking about. And so we're simply just going to insert it to the track that's closer on the inside, and it should just slide right in. Actually, guys, I decided I'm going to go ahead and peel this, as it looks much nicer. So this might be a little tricky as it's kind of flexible, but you kind of have to just slowly massage it in there, kind of help it turn through the corner. With a little patience here, it's going through. And maybe, guys, I can show you here. Yeah, and getting in this groove is not too easy either. Yeah, a little finicky. It seems like there could have been maybe a better way, as this definitely is not so fun. All right, so I finally massaged it into here. So now we have to kind of carefully put this back. Yeah, you guys can see it doesn't want to stay in there. So I guess here they show you how to slide it through. Yeah, it's a lot of pictures of showing you how to do it. So the next part, we're going to connect a bar here that's going to hold this other side, which is this thing here. So here also you got to, insert it correctly, but it pretty much only goes one way. So again, this is a little more complex than it should be, it seems like. So I'm going to try to put it on as I'm going down also. So there we go. I think we're in. Feels good. So I don't want to move it too much, but maybe you guys can see it's definitely on. Now we just got to put two little bolts on each side here to lock it in. And it's probably going to be these same ones here. So we need to line it up and lock it in. So yeah, it is a little bit of, I don't know how to call it, I guess, nuance here with the film. It's not that it's hard, it's just finicky. But once we get it, it's perfect and looks really good. And yeah, I'm glad I took off that film because it definitely looks nice. And maybe you guys can see what it looks like there on that trim there. So yeah, making some progress. So for step 2, we'll be installing this piece here, which also has the protective coatings. And this one actually is going to go in the second track from the other side. And so the reason it goes on the second track is it can open all the way through on top of the other one. And this one shouldn't be as hard as it has all of its pieces. We just need to feed it in there. That's going to go here from the front. So now instead of going on the inside, we're going to go on the outside. So it's going to go like this, where this little handle lip, you can grab it and pull it up just like that. And you guys can see it slides in there really easy. But I think I want to go ahead and see if we can pull off all of this protective layers. Okay, so it is possible. It's not coming out that nicely though, because it's kind of pinched in there. Well, so far so good. No, it is pinched. I guess if you leave it on, it's fine, but if you want to take it off, you might have to clean it up a bit, but mine's coming off okay so far. But yeah, I don't understand why they do this, to be honest. Just wrap them afterwards where we want to deal with this, but not the end of the world. As so far, coming out pretty clean. All right, so we got everything off. It looks really nice. Got some fingerprints, but we'll wipe it down. So yeah, again, the handle goes out, or the part that sticks out. And you can kind of see with the little bolts, they go on the inside of the frame. So yeah, we're gonna use the outside. We're just gonna go straight right in, pull it through as our second part goes in. And then our last part there will also slide in. So now it can go actually all the way through to the back side there. So actually not too bad. And so on the other end, we're going to install this other piece, which has the LEDs. And so with this one here, you can see a little fuzzy material where it sits on. That's actually going to go upside down. There's actually another fuzzy thing on this side. Yeah, it's literally just going to sit in there just like that. So you can't really go any other way. And we have the last 4 bolts that we need to install 2 on each side. So yeah, guys, so far not too bad actually. Pretty straightforward, I would say. And we are pretty much done with the lid, and you guys can see how it works here. Just like that. So all right, so now that we're done with our upper portion, the lid, we're going to go to the base and install some of the things in there, which we can see the floor, which are all these pieces here, and also the tray that slides underneath. And actually on the next page, they want us to install the laser module itself, and then we get to the floor eventually. So let's grab our module, and if we look right here, this is where our laser will actually sit in. So it just slides in like a rail. Just like that. So I'm just going to level it here with the top. Maybe we should flip this around a bit. So here we have the exit, which is the power wire, and that's going to go right here. We also have this air tube that comes from the front there into this splitter, and then these little brackets here that hold it from moving around. So we're going to release those and install that right here, and just like that. And then this wire will go where the hose was clamped. There's a couple of Velcros, and we want to keep that on that side. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it in here, and we're going to route the cable in the clips here. Now we can Velcro the other 2 together, kind of like that. So now they're traveling together as it moves around. So all right, so that looks pretty good. And we can see here the steps. And then here we can go ahead and install a floor. So there's quite a few of these. The sharper, thinner part goes up, and the more rounded off, thicker part goes down. So you guys see all these grooves, hopefully you can see, but yeah, you just set them in there into the grooves. And there's quite a few of them, so it is a little bit time consuming. That's how these go together. So I'm just gonna go ahead and install all of them. Maybe you guys can see in this angle here, but yeah, we're just putting them into the grooves of the teeth there. And you do have to come in into an angle, so you kind of go down in there like this, and then you turn it, then drop it in. And actually, guys, they don't even go through the whole way. They just actually go into this little section here. There's a little bit of a difference. So these 2 I put too far this way, and they need to go on that side. But yeah, that's how they go. So yeah, there's definitely less of them than I thought, and also they do go in the little section right here. Let's go ahead and see if we can put this tray in. It's quite large. So there are little wheels, and it's going to slide in there. So now we got like a whole floor underneath, and it's a tray that you can slide out and clean up whatnot else, and then put it back in. All right, so we're making pretty good progress. Next, we're going to go back to our lid, or the top portion, and we're going to finish installing that. So it's going to go on top, and then we're going to install the sides where the fan is, and also the other side. So it should just set right on top. So it kind of has to line up and click into its space. The piece that has nothing on it will go on this side, just like that. So there's just a lot of little bolts that go around, and I'm going to go ahead and take the protector off of this too, as it does look much nicer without it. So the only thing to consider is there's a little cutout right here, a little square box, and that goes for the switch on the side. So make sure you put that over that. And this other pack of the little bolts is what we need to install it. There's also a USB port here that lines up. So yeah, so far not too bad. There is a little bit of assembly here. So with these, you don't want to tighten them up too hard, just a little snug, and that should be good. All right, so now we're on the other side, and I got the piece here. But before we do that, if you guys can see this plug, it plugs in right under here. It's kind of hard to see, but plug that in, and I think it's for the light, which is right here, this white piece on the inside. So we have the fan here, and this section here goes on the inside like this. And there's also a wire here that we'll have to plug in. And there's a protective layer here too, and they put the fan right on top of it. So what I did is I got a knife and kind of cut around it. If you want to, you can take the fan off and then peel it and then put it back. So far so good. Seemed to work pretty well actually. I guess I didn't do a perfect cut, but still pretty good. And we'll peel the other side. All right, so wire on the inside, the exhaust port on the outside. Make sure the switch goes in here. This one's a little more obvious as the exhaust port is towards the back. And now we're just gonna put the little bolts all around. So again, when you're doing this, make sure you're sitting flat, because if it's not completely flat, it might not line up really good. All right, so that's done. It's nice and solid. And we can see on the instructions, we plugged in that main plug. There is a picture here of showing some other plug. I think maybe that's from the fan, and goes to the next step, which is the pipe, then the air pump, and then we got connect the power supply. And yeah, that's pretty much it as far as assembly is concerned. So we just got to figure out where to connect that fan. Yeah, let's go ahead and open this door. So it does go pretty far, almost pretty much halfway, and we got a really good opening. All right, so looking around, it's a little hard to see, but the fan cable just kind of travels here. There's a groove in there. Maybe we can install it in there. That's actually pretty nice. So hopefully you guys can see, but I'm just installing into a groove of the channel. And the little plug where it plugs in is actually right here. So there's a switch here, and it's right behind here. Maybe you guys can see, just like that. So yeah, it looks like it does go into that groove beautifully and goes up here to the fan. So for the air pump, it's pretty straightforward, and this is where we have that connection. So we have a little adjuster here, the electrical connection, and then the air hose connection. So it's quite simple. We just got the standalone compressor here. It's actually branded Creality, which is kind of cool. So depending where this thing's going to be, which it can't be too far away, probably sit somewhere beside it. I guess if you had a longer hose, you could put it somewhere farther away. The cable can be longer, but it doesn't need to be, so I'm just going to leave it coiled like that. But yeah, it's going to plug here, but before I do that, let's go ahead and plug the hose below that. Simply just slides over, just like that. And then the other part is going to go right here on top. There's a little cover that we need to take off. And then we're going to install the hose here, slide it on. We're going to plug it so it only goes one way. Make sure you line it up correctly and plug it in, and that's it. That's basically our whole air system here. And this thing has really squishy, jiggly feet, so it should not make much noise when it's in use. But yeah, that's pretty much the assembly. All right, so let's take a closer look at the Falcon 2 Pro. And one thing I want to stress about it is the size. It's actually quite large. So our table here is 3 feet. And the machine is over 2 feet deep. Looks like about 26.5 inches. It's also pretty reasonably wide at pretty much 2 feet with those wires, but even more with this pump. And about 13 inches tall. So yeah, definitely make sure you have room for this thing. And I've kind of put everything here so you guys can see what it all comes with. So we got the sample boards, some stickers, power supply with the cord, a brush, 2 USB-C cables with an adapter from A to C, the goggles, some extra pieces here, including another adapter, thickness gauge, manual, which is very nice. And then we got the hose here with the clamp that goes here, and then this will clamp it down, kind of like that. So as far as the machine itself, it's a very nice pro looking setup, pretty clean. We got the red tint on the panels, and that's to protect your eyes from the laser. We do have a door that opens up, and we can see here there's some magnets, and I think those are actually also sensors. It does know when it's open or closed. So, and the door does open pretty good amount, so there's a lot of room to get in there. Everything is laid out really nice in here. Quality materials. We've got the laser head here with air coming to it, and then the power cord. They route nicely through here. We got a distribution here and where everything goes. So the air actually comes over here to the front and comes out here to the air pump. There's also a control here for that, and this is the plug for it. So we can see we're running on linear rails here on the Y and also the X. This rail here. A very nice construction. We got some stickers here about warnings for the laser. The module itself is very nice. This is where it connects, and you just loosen this and then it'll move around up and down, and this is how you can gauge it to where you need it. And if we look in the corners, pretty clean back there, just rails. If I push this back here, we can see we have the floor here consists of these pieces. There's quite a few of them, and they sit in the little grooves you can see here. So supposedly you can lay these flat also if you wanted to, but you probably want to stand them like this because as you're cutting, you want debris falling down through them. And that actually goes down to this tray here, which on the front, it opens up and it comes out all the way. Here it reminds us to clean the tray out. If you want to, you probably should put something maybe in here because the laser will probably burn through it or leave burn marks. But that's up to you. But yeah, it's like a very large tray that moves throughout the whole thing. So, and we can see we got the belts, and the x-axis is also a belt. We can see the motor there. That's all underneath this channel. So in this corner, we can see the end-stop switch. Plugs here. This little plug here goes to the fan, and I just routed it in that groove there. So we do have a fan that exhausts the smoke out, and you can run it through this pipe out the window or wherever. So on the front plate here, we do have a pretty large light, and also we can see our y-axis motor here on a rod that goes to the both sides. So on the very top of this frame piece, there's actually a camera there. If we actually go this way, we can see this is where it connects. So the front fascia is pretty clean. This is our control panel with a key here. Comes with a couple. So to turn on the machine, you will have to put the key in and actually turn it to on, like that. And then this is our emergency stop. So if you push this down, it locks it. To unlock it, you have to twist it and it pops back up. So yeah, if nothing's working, make sure this is popped out up. We also have some navigation here, home and then movements, frame, and then the go or play button. Right around the corner, we got our micro SD card slot, a USB type C slot, and this part here is for the power supply and an on and off switch. And if we go off from there, we can see that we have a light on and off right here. And here we have fan on and off here. So this will control the exhaust fan. So everything is metal on this printer, and we're sitting on rubber feet on 4 corners. And the back is pretty clean. We do have a manufacturing label there. Also here in the back, this screw here is the tension or the lock for the wheel. And then the middle bolt there is the adjustment for the tension on the roller. And there's one of these on each side. And on the x-axis, we have the tension right here, where we can adjust how much tension is on the belt in the back. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, very nicely built laser and looks really good here on the table. So let's go ahead and power this thing on. So we're plugged in. I just got the wire going underneath. Let's go ahead and hit the power button. And then we do have to turn the key to on. And the machine starts. So it is quite loud, at least the fan. And I'm just realizing it's mostly that thing. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Now it's really quiet. We do have a light here showing status, pulsing green. So we can control it here. We can actually move it. So every time you press it, it moves. Looks like just a couple millimeters in each direction. And also home it. Make sure everything works. All our end stops. Then here we have a frame button. Let's see. Okay, so it's got nothing to frame. So yeah, pretty straightforward. And we have our light here, on and off. Obviously, we're going to keep that on as it makes the inside nice and bright. And so if we hit this stop button, you guys will see that everything will just shut off. To reset it, we're just going to spin it, turn it back on. So yeah, there's lots of safety here for keys, this, and obviously we have the main switch here too. All right, so here we are at the computer, and I got the Lightburn software pulled up. So you're just going to search for Lightburn. So this is a paid program that you got to have, I guess. But they do give you a 30-day trial. So if we click here on download trial, we can see here it says 30 days. But if you're wondering how much it costs, click here on purchase, $99. So let's go ahead and download it. Or let's go ahead and save it. So it's going to download a DMG file. Then we're going to double click that. So on Mac, we just have to grab this and move it to the applications. And it's simple as that. We're installed. So let's go ahead and open it up. It's going to confirm. And so here it says that, you know, if you have a key, insert it, or you can start your trial. So if we click on this button, that's going to start our free trial. So it has been activated. Welcome to Lightburn. Okay, to agree to a few things here. And now we can connect to our device. All right, so here we are at the laser, and I got my MacBook Pro here. So what we need to do is connect it with the 2 cables. And if you need the adapters, they're provided. So it'll be USB-C to USB-C. So the newer MacBooks, they have a bit more ports, which is nice. So one of them will go to the laser here at the front, and the other one to the USB camera here on top. So we could go to Find My Laser and see if we can find it, but the right way to do is to import the file, which is on this thumb drive. There's a little micro SD card there, and I do have another adapter here so we can read it. So if we click on import, then go to our little SD card, and we can see these are all the folders that are inside of it. And if we click on software here on number 5, then go to Lightburn, we can see the Falcon 2 Pro parameter file. So if we select that and open it, it's going to load it here. It's the Falcon 2. And then we're going to click OK. And then here in the laser devices area, we can select the correct port path. So I don't think these 2 are the correct ones. Let's see. Maybe I need to restart the machine. So let's go ahead and click this emergency. Turn it back on. So let's click this home and see if the laser reacts. Okay, so it doesn't. But for some reason, it's not reading it, which is kind of weird. Maybe we should try another dongle, or maybe I should flip this around. We'll try to go with the other end. Maybe that'll do it. Probably just computer, most likely, what's going on here. Doesn't want to pick it up. Let's go ahead and try this other adapter I got. Maybe it's just an adapter issue. So yeah, I'm having a little bit of a trouble here connecting. All right, so that time I restarted it. It's not there, but you guys saw some popped up. And here we go. So finally we have the port connection, the USB. And there it goes, it's starting to work, so it's moving. So yeah, that was a little bit weird. And I am using my adapter here. I'm not sure if that helped or not, but in any case, it's probably the Mac OS just, you know, being extra cautious with the things it connects to. But in any case, we are connected now, so, and it did home. So we have the control to the laser now. So if we open, let's see, software tutorial, light burn. Okay, there's a file here that kind of explains how to get started and import it. We do need to edit something in the settings there to millimeters a minute. So not the second, but the minute. And also we need to enable laser on when framing. So yeah, and then it kind of goes over how to use this thing. So there's definitely a learning curve to this. And we're not going to go over everything, but we are going to do here the important things, hopefully. And if we go back to light burn and click here on settings, so everything looks good here, I think. Oh, here we go. So in the units and grids, we got millimeters a second and millimeters a minute. So you definitely want to be here. And then display, I think everything's good and everything here. And then we also have the camera settings here. So let's just okay that. So let's click this little tool here and make sure, okay, so our laser framing on is not switched on. So let's go ahead and switch that on. And this is gonna, you know, project a little beam so it shows you exactly the borders of your project. It'd just be easier to see. And yeah, I guess everything else is fine. So to me, this is all very alienish because I'm not proficient in lasers at all. I do 3D printing here and there, but not lasering. So this is definitely a little bit overwhelming with the software, but just like anything else, after you tinker around with it, go through all the settings, you probably figure it out. Obviously watch some tutorials and read the manuals that are pretty helpful. So I think for the next part, probably the more important thing is we need to set up our camera. So let's see first if it is even connected. So on the console here, we're gonna click on camera control and we need to choose our camera here on top. So as we can see, for some reason, our camera is not pulling up. Again, connection issue, which is very interesting. Maybe we need to flip this around. The adapter maybe goes on this end. Okay, there we go. So it did pop up now. And there we have a preview. So once you connect your camera, you should be able to see the preview. If we go back to our SD card, we can see here on number 3, it says calibrate an online camera. There's a PDF. And here it explains how to do all this. So basically, it's like a calibration with this card that's included that you kind of have to move around from corner to corner. And after that, looks like it's going to be also calibrating for the fisheye or something like that. So I guess we'll have to see what all this is about. Basically, the reason we're doing all this is because the camera is quite important for lining up exactly where you want to burn something. So if you want to burn something on something small, you can actually use your camera to align that, and we'll go through that here in a bit. So on the top here, we got laser tools and we got calibrate camera lens, and here we can see from the top down. So we need to move this actually to the back. All right, so it looks like I triggered something. So we're going to choose standard lens and then click next. That noise you guys hear is just the pump running. So I'm going to put this card on the inside and we'll see it here on the screen pop up. So what you want to do is you want to put it to the middle of your workload, whatever that is. It is a little offset on the camera itself, which I guess is fine. So let's click on capture now. So it's going to capture this image, and basically that's our score, 0.08. It says great. Anything with 10 or less is acceptable, but you want to be within the 0.5 or less is ideal. I totally forgot they said to use this piece here for the calibration also. So let's go ahead and do that. So all we need to do is just recapture the image. So we'll click capture again. Okay, I think we're just a little bit lower maybe. Let's try. That should be good, I guess. So if the score is good, then you can click next. So now it shows us here that we need to move it down. So I'm not sure exactly how much they want us to move it. I'm just going to move it here a little bit. I don't think that we're supposed to be going off the scale too much, but to the bottom of the camera there. And there we go. So let's click capture. 0.12. So still good. It's still within the range. All right. So next one's going to be that side over there. All right, let's capture that, 0.18. Now we're gonna go to the other side. We'll capture that, 0.17. Now we're gonna go to the back. So we can go pretty far, but I don't wanna go too far. So let's just stay here. Capture that, 0.15, that's great. Now we're gonna go to this corner, 0.19, still good. Now we're gonna go to the other corner. So this one's 0.2, went up a little bit, but not a big deal. Still in the range. Let's click next. So yeah, I guess now we're just doing the corners. All right. Looks good. And the last corner, also good. So it looks like that's it for the alignments as we're done. So here it recommends to do the alignment wizard next. So we can either click finish here or click on align camera. So let's go to the next step here. And the camera alignment popped up. So we got our camera selected. Here it's saying to make sure to clear the camera view. It's cleared and you can move it manual here with these. So let's just click this here. You guys can see it goes to that corner. So let's click on next. So here we have fit workspace or 100% scale. So it looks like it's going to engrave this into that board. And I think what we need to do is kind of center up this board. Move this because we don't need this anymore. So let's click on frame and we should be able to see where it's going to. Alright guys, so the reason for the clicking actually is this door is not closed. So you got to close it. There's some little red lights right here. Close it, they turn blue. Looks like we got to restart it for some reason. Froze in that position. Okay, there we go. So it homed. Yeah, and also make sure your laser's, you know, the right distance between the board. But yeah, if we click on frame, we're gonna see where the workspace is, and I can see it's outside that board by a lot. So that's probably not acceptable. And that probably has to do with the fill workspace instead of 100% scale. So we probably need to go here, and that changes to 100. Now let's frame it. There we go. That looks a lot more right. You guys can't see anything, but on the preview here on the video, you can kind of see. And actually, that looks pretty good. I didn't really look. Let me look again here. All right, so it's a little bit off. Needs to go this way just a bit. So I think I messed it up again. Yep. All right, let's frame it one more time here to make sure that it's pretty much center on that wood. Close enough. So now it's gonna burn some stuff into it. So we're gonna click on start here to run it. But here's what the power is. It's at 60%. Should be enough for this project. Let's click start. And there we go. So it's actually burning in the pattern. And if we look from the top here, it's kind of hard to see as it's all reflecty and very yellowy. But yeah, we can see there it's got the number 4 on that corner. And then number 3 on this other corner. And also in the center we can see there's like a little round circle. It's basically going to use these patterns here to align the camera. So the scaling and the positioning is correct. Alright, so now that that's done, we can click on next on the computer. So now it wants us to capture an image, but we need to move. So we're going to move the head out of the way, click it to that corner there. Maybe it's, yeah, open the door more so we can get a more even light in there. So I'm going to click on capture image. So it's saying make sure you can see all of the 4 corners clearly. I guess you can. Let's click on next. So here we're going to actually mark 1 through 4, and you can zoom in into the image by clicking zoom in here and actually move it around. So we're going to get as close as we can so we can get very accurate. And so what we're doing is we're just matching the X, which is this piece right here, right in the middle of that. So you can zoom in as close as you want. So we're just going to click on the very middle of that X. Well, I guess I got to double click here, I think. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. So now we're going to go find number 2 and do the same thing. I'm going to double click it. Pretty close. We got number 3. Should be good. And then number 4. And now we have a box. And if you mess up, you can undo the last thing you clicked on. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. So let's click on next. And it says we're done here. And there you go. So we pretty much got the camera set up. All right, so let's import some kind of project as a little test. And I think the SD card should have something. All right, so here we have G code, 22 watts. Yeah, for some reason Bamboo Lab's taking over my icons, but we have some kind of eagle here. Let's open it up and see what it is. Okay, there we go. So under the cuts and layers here, we can adjust the power here. I think we're going to need a lot more than 20%. I guess about 60% should be good. So we also have the speed. I guess 6,000 is okay. I'm not sure. So that's our console where the commands are. And then our camera here. So on the camera, what's unique is that if we click update overlay right here, it's going to actually bring our piece of wood here on the picture. And now we can line up this eagle anywhere we want. So if let's say you brought an object in here of any kind, you can actually line up your burn image on anything. So if it's something small, you can, or words, you line it up to, let's say you want to engrave a name or something on a knife or a piece of tool or anything like that. You'll just, line it up right here on the image. So let's see how accurate our calibration is. And we'll put that little circle right inside the eagle. and it looks like it should not be touching anything according to what I can see on this screen. And so if this little circle that stays right in here, then that would be perfect. If not, then we're gonna probably have to set the offset. Let's go ahead and run this project, but before we do, let's click on home. Remember to close our lid, as we can't do nothing unless this is closed and these lights turn blue. Click on frame to make sure that's where it's gonna go. I guess that's correct. Not too sure. I'm about to find out. So yeah, if you're ready to run it, we're just gonna click the start here and it's gonna run the project. And by the way, I never set the laser off. It's just, you know, like 4 or 5. Actually, no, probably like 6 or 7 millimeters off of the wood. Probably a little high, but should be fine just for this. Well, let's go ahead and go with it. And there we go. So it started. And maybe you guys can see there. It's lasering away. It's a little hard to show you guys because everything is protected with this red and yellow windows. So, but yeah, we can see the image there. So yeah, our eagle is coming along. And it shouldn't take long. It's actually almost done, I think. Okay, yeah, it is done. Wow, that was a lot quicker than I thought it would be. And look at that, guys. I just realized it might be too bright, but yeah, the circle is pretty much perfect where we put it according to our image there on the screen. So yeah, I think we got everything aligned nicely. So now we can technically put any object inside, line up what we want to burn, and it should match up pretty much perfect. Alright, so back at the computer in the SD card, I did want to mention a few things. The manual in PDF form, which is really nice. So you do have that. We got parameter recommendations. So this is for 22 and 40 watts. And this is actually quite useful here. But yeah, so this is all of the recommendations for the 22 watts. So for engraving different materials and then the thicknesses of them, with the recommended power / recommended speed. So this could be quite useful to, you know, tune your laser to the correct specs here for what you're doing. And they include the passes here, which is 1. Now, when we get into cutting, you obviously require a lot more power. And we can see here for basswood, we're going to be at 100%, a pretty slow speeds depending on the thickness. So here at 10 millimeters, we're really going slow at only 120. They also include a bunch of other stuff that could be useful. Some plywoods, walnut, rosewood, bamboo, which is kind of cool. And we can see here craft paper, it does cut really quick. And they even have leather, which is nice. And this is for cutting leather. Now, if you want to just engrave it, we have here brown leather on top. And that's going to be at much faster speeds and very low power at only 18%. So yeah, depending on what you're doing, this is a really good chart here to have, maybe even to print out. I almost wish they included that with the laser so you can have it in there on the side. But yeah, you do have this, which is nice. But we also have something that could be useful if you're having issues, and these are going to be error codes and what they mean. So if you're getting any of these, you can refer to this and figure out what it is. Frequently asked questions is also very useful, as there's a lot of common sense questions, kind of like how large is the working area, the diode types, how to focus. So you're going to use that little metal spacer that they gave you. So for general stuff, you're going to use the highest one, and then for cutting, you're going to go lower down. But that's pretty much the focus of the laser. Here also it mentions that it'll damage the workbench. So if you want that bottom tray not to get burned, you might want to put something like stainless steel or aluminum plates down there, and a bunch of other stuff that could be useful. So there's a lot of help here included on the SD card. So we also have the alarm for the laser module and what they all mean and how to reset it, which there's that little reset button right on top, and also the air assist. So this helps with clearing the laser from smoke, and it's recommended to keep it at a very strong flow or like a high flow when you're cutting. But when you're engraving, they actually definitely recommend you to disable it or set it super low. You can mess around with that, but it's mostly for cutting, as when you're cutting, you're really creating a lot of smoke and you need to clear that laser up. All right, so going back to our Lightburn software, there is another thing that could be very useful in the laser tools called material test. And basically what this is a 10 by 10 grid, you can see here, and you can make it more or less grids that do speed versus power parameters, and you can kind of here choose what you want. We got the minimum speed of 600 to the maximum of 18,000, which is probably too fast, but we'll let it be. Actually, let's turn that down to do 12. For the power, 10% minimum, and then ramp up to 100%. If we click here on preview, we can kind of see what that will look like. So the 12,000 is up here, and the 100% is here. So this box down here at 100% with only 600 speed is probably going to get burnt pretty bad. But yeah, that's basically the scale of power and speed, and whatever little square looks the best is what you'll choose for your material. Then again, now that I'm thinking about it, if you're not going to be cutting, I don't think 100% is a good idea to go on max. So I would say probably 60%. So depending on what you're doing and what you're using this for, because yeah, at 100% we'll probably cut. I guess we can raise our speed also. So let's say 1200 would be more reasonable. But in any case, because I'm going to use probably wood for this test, so I can show you guys what it looks like. And here we have the size of it too. It's only 82 by 91 millimeters. So yeah, once you get it all set up, we're just going to click the start there after framing it up, and it'll burn it in. All right, so I got everything set up with the little wood. I also framed it, and I'm going to hit it here so you guys can see. Should be good. So now we're going to just click start, and it's going to go ahead and do the grid there. So far it's actually pretty light. I can't even see it, but I guess we'll see it as it continues. So yeah, it might be a little bit too low, the power, as I can see the blocks, but they're a little bit light, but they are getting darker as it continues, so I guess we'll see here shortly. Well, maybe it's good, because it did start burning pretty hard there at the end. So yeah, this is probably not the best range I picked for this, as we can see that we can barely tell our letters there. And the 50% did pretty well, but only at slower speeds. Higher speeds, which we can't even tell where we're at here. But if we look here on the computer with what we just burnt, it appears that 3000, or I guess 36, where we got the nice pattern there at around 50%. So yeah, I think we need higher speeds with higher power to be a little more efficient, and we definitely don't need to do low power because it's not even showing up. So probably should start with around 30% and go all the way to 80, and higher speeds on the lower end, maybe start with around 25 or so. But yeah, you can see that, you know, you can make a lot less of these, which would make more sense if you kind of knew what the range was. But this tells us here that, you know, we do need different parameters for the testing to be a little more precise. But it gives you an idea of, you know, how to do this. You just mess around with it until you understand. And the more you do it, the more you know what materials, what speeds, and what power. So I'm going to try to burn my face onto this provided piece of wood. And when you do drag an image, it knows that it is an image. The maximum power is at 20%. I changed it to 50 because I don't think that 20 is going to be enough. But yeah, it kind of sets up the settings here for the image. We can kind of see it like makes these little dots. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is and see what happens. I framed it. So let's push start. And there it goes. It looks like it is burning. It is quite black on the bottom and should get lighter as we go up. Yeah, it looks pretty cool, and we can see that's where it does get a little lighter. I'm gonna go ahead and close this lid as the smoke is getting pretty heavy. And by the way, you can use little magnets like this to have the lid open, as there's sensors here. Alright, so far so good. Coming along really nicely, as you guys can see. Maybe I could have made it a little more darker or powerfuler. I was worried that it might be too powerful, but this looks like just about right, I guess. Alright, so it looks like we're coming to an end here. Finishing up the very top there. And there it goes. So yeah, I would say that's pretty successful there. We can kind of see the wood right through my face because it has a pattern in it. It's going to show up. Yeah, overall it looks really good even from a distance. Very accurate and looks good. So if you want to engrave images or even anything else, you know, obviously this laser can do it. Yeah, we kind of exhausted this thing, but maybe we should cut something out of this thing and make something else. Alright, so I decided to cut a project. So it's going to cut out a bunch of pieces and we have to put it together like into this B. And the scale was actually perfect for that board there. So I just flipped it around and I put some cardboard also underneath. We are going to be cutting. I'm hoping that, you know, we're not going to cut down to the bottom. So if we are, it's going to have to go 2 layers of cardboard. And I also set the power to 90 instead of 100 and speed a little faster, 800 instead of 700 last time. So hoping that will work. So I went ahead and framed it. Let's click start. And there it goes. I just need to start my GoPro here. This is going to create a lot of smoke because it's cutting. So I probably need to cover this door so it can exhaust out there to the outdoors. But it looks like it's cutting it maybe. Looking at it, I can see that piece fell right there. So it is cutting. Super cool. Lots of smoke. It is getting all sucked up though really nicely. But yeah, we're gonna let it cut it out here and we'll see what kind of project that is. Maybe we'll build it right quick, as it does seem pretty unique. And if you guys are wondering, it doesn't take long at all. We're already almost halfway, so it's been about 3 minutes. So all right, and it's done. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to be kind of careful taking this off. I need to see where all the pieces are. They're all actually numbered too, so that makes it kind of nice. Let's see. All right, so we went through, but it only kind of engraved the box here. So yeah, 90% looks like it was pretty much perfect without burning the bottom floor, which I kind of did in the beginning a little bit. Alright, so I got the B together and man, did it turn out pretty cool. So yeah, this was pretty fun. I did have to glue it as my board is a little thinner, I think, than the spec of this build. And yeah, very impressive. You can see you can make little projects like this, like this B here, or even this dice, which definitely was not the right thickness. This is why it looks like this. Or you can kind of stack them, I guess. Let's say 3 of the same thing, probably fill up these gaps. But in any case, this is just examples of what you can make. And here we have the cutout for the dice, and this one here is the B, which we kind of reused with multiple things. Also my face here, you can kind of see my eyes. But yeah, so you guys see it's quite versatile with pretty much anything that has to do with lasering or cutting. It's really good at 22 watts. It's quite powerful. Now if you're going to cut really thick stuff, obviously you're just going to have to go slower, but I would say the 22 watt can probably do 1/4 inch, 3/8 no problem, as long as you know you slow it down. And because of the air assist, you can really go slow and cut pretty deep. But as far as engraving, you guys can see I engraved into here. So this is aluminum. This was a first shot kind of try, and it turned out pretty good. Probably not the best font to use, but yeah. And also this is 3D printed, so it's like a holder for air tags, and you can definitely engrave into 3D prints also if you wanted to. So I've engraved a bunch of other little things, which is super fun, especially with the camera on the top. You can really align it just right, exactly where you want it. And so that makes it so much easier to line everything up and get it all dialed in. Now, for some reason, the 22 watt diode is not strong enough for you over time. You can upgrade the machine to a 40 watt diode just by getting the new head, and you can, you know, double the power on this thing, which is definitely a plus as you can upgrade. We do have a very generous 400 by 410 10mm work area. Now if you needed something larger, what you could do is just slide this tray out completely, and then the whole bottom will be open, and you can lower the laser down. So let's say I wanted to engrave straight into this table. I would just take this out, lower the laser down, and I can engrave straight into here. So that's how you do a super huge piece. But yeah, anything that fits inside obviously is going to go into this enclosure, which is really nice with this really cool and nifty door here. Now you do have to remember that you have sensors, which sense the doors is also for the bottom one. There are a couple magnets here, so if you wanted to take this out, you would have to trigger that. And the interface here, I did not really use at all, so it could be helpful just to like frame and maybe home. But most likely this is more for if you're just going to use the SD card as you bring the file in. But yeah, with this kind of machine, I would definitely recommend connecting it to the computer and having the USB camera and everything working together, so you don't really use this panel here at all. The keys are really nice. It's quite redundant here, and you do get two, which you can turn it on and off. You also have this emergency, and you also have a power on and off button on the side. So yeah, 3 ways to turn this thing off and on, or should I say all 3 of them have to be on in order for it to power on. The air pump is really nice. It's quiet. It does its job. There's a regulator here where you can go faster or slower with the air, and it's very useful when you're cutting, especially. The exhaust fan is pretty loud, but it does need to be strong, as there's a lot of smoke in here, again, when it's cutting and you need to exhaust it. And it's nice that it comes with a pipe. And of course we have the light on and off, or I guess it's more like on or auto, same thing for the fan. So when it's on auto, it controls it automatically as it needs it, but I leave the light constantly on and the fan on auto. So yeah, the Falcon 2 Pro is definitely prosumer machine. It brings this nice cover for safety, beautiful, great build quality. Everything is metal. And with that said, it's not the most affordable machine, but for everything you get and how it all works together, being enclosed, having all the safety features, the ease of aligning things up with USB camera, the air assist, the ability to upgrade the laser, and just the overall build quality, makes this a very decent and compelling overall package. So if you guys are interested in the Falcon 2 Pro, I'll have some links in the description. Check it out. And if you did enjoy this video, then hit that like button. If you enjoy videos like this, check out my 3D printing playlist. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.